is another edition of the On the Mic podcast, and the PFL interviews roll along. And as I told him off air, super happy and excited and honored to welcome my next guest, the number one seed in the light heavyweight playoff tournament. And I mean, one of the very best light heavyweights in the world, Joshua Silveira. Sir, how are you?
I'm great, man. I'm good. Life is amazing. We got some bumps in the road here and there, but that's life. I'm here, semifinals, back again. Ready to look forward and win this thing.
Yeah, and you know what? Great year for you, right? I mean, obviously 2022 didn't end the way you wanted it to, but I always say maybe better sooner rather than later. You don't want to have that first loss when you're 25-0 or 22-0. You know, for you, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can tell me to shut the hell up and you never wanted to lose, but I think you handled it gracefully, and in 2023 things have been pretty damn good for you.
Yeah, man. Loss is a part of life. It happens. Unfortunately, in the fight game, it's one of those situations where one guy wins, one guy loses, right? I wish we all get a trophy. I wish we could all go back and see what we could done different and do it different, but that's not the case, man. You got to take it on the chin, like you take a punch on the chin, and we move on. We find solutions, man. My father always told me we find solution when there's problems. We don't try to find more problems, and that's where I'm at, man. I'm 30 years old. I know I'm not doing this forever, so as crazy as it sounds, it's all love, man. All love. Everything I move is with love. I'm at a point in my life where I just want to tell myself a nice story when I'm an old guy, man. A nice heart feeling story. And that's where I'm at, man. I love it. I'm blessed. I don't ask why. I don't ask who or what. Every day is a just amazing life I have, and I'm blessed to have this life.
I mean, that's beautiful, man. Those are beautiful words. And you mentioned your dad, and we were just talking about him off camera, but I think he may play a little factor in how you approach these things. What's it like having such a world-renowned coach, such a respected martial artist, and then, oh, by the way, he's also dad. And I've had the opportunity to talk to him on this podcast a couple times, and it's always like, my son is my son, and I'm not going to force him to do anything my way. Like, he's got to figure it out. So he's the father, he's a coach, he's all of that. What's the balance like for you?
I think the balance sometimes is a necessity, right? He can't be dad all the time when he needs to be a coach. But I think it's weird, man. He's always been my coach, always been my dad, obviously, but he's been coaches for other guys. And I think like anything else in life, he came to a point where he became good at what he does, not just because of competition or whatever. Just he's involved with these guys' lives, you know what I mean, and our lives, let alone the fighting part. So I think when it was time for his son to have my moment, I think he's just prepped himself so well for this, and I think we're still learning together, man. We're still learning together as father and son. I don't care how tough he is. I know he gets worried about me. I'm his son.
Yeah,
but he lets me walk my line. He lets me make my choices. Sometimes he puts a wall up, and I'm not gonna let you do this. I'm not gonna let you make this mistake like I saw other guys make mistake, and there's times I'm all ears. There's times we fight, but at the end of the day, I think that's what makes a good coach. He's always told me my opinion counts. So, yeah, man. We just have a great life, man. And we've had some rough patches in the past. We all have. We're at this point where I've forgiven him. He's forgiven me. We're looking forward. Whether it's little kid trauma or this or that, it doesn't matter. We see eye to eye, and he's my best friend, man. He's my best friend. I love him to death.
Well, many people wish they could call your father their best friend. So it's great that you get to call him best friend, coach, and obviously dad. Now, just overall your team and just what you grew up around, when for you did it all click as I'm a true martial artist? This is what I'm going to pursue, because like I've mentioned, he was always, your father was always, I'm going to let my son do his thing. And that's his life, his decision. But when did it click for you? And we'll talk about your matchup here against Ty Flores, but when did it all really click for you?
Man, everything's clicked. I think I mean, I've had this sensation of wanting to fight since I was a kid, man. It's been there, but obviously, kids want to be astronauts. They want to do this. And the mission's a lot more. It's possible, but the mission's always unrealistic when you're a kid. You think it just boom, you're flying to space, you're on a rocket. Nah, man, you got to be a genius almost. And this case, I think as a kid, it was more of a dream, and then I saw the sport developing, and then it was more of like kind of scared in a way, like holy crap, guys are throwing spinning heel kicks. It's not just like jujitsu anymore. It's a lot more complicated than the usual. But I think it really started clicking when I started wrestling, man. When I started wrestling in high school, when I was about 15, 16 years old. And I remember the conversation I had with my dad, and he told me it's going to be a lot of bumps in the road, a lot of bruises and whatever you want to call them. And I was all for it, man. And we went, man. Our decision we made a long time ago. That's something we say to each other. We decided this a long time ago, you know? So, yeah, man, I was about 15, 16 years old wrestling. And, I made the commitment that I was going to wrestle, get a scholarship for college wrestling, and I was going to transfer that into my MMA career. And it's just crazy to see it manifest now.
And you've done such a great job, so far in your career. And the last one on your career, it's the first time we get to talk. So I got other questions outside the matchup, but we will get into that matchup. But when it comes to how your career started and then jumping on with the PFL and then having such success, how someone who was basically born into the sport, how were you able to handle and manage all the success you were having early on? Because some people have that success and they immediately want to fly in the skies. They don't ground themselves for anything. They just think they can take it all right away. How were you able to ground yourself?
I think just growing up in the sport, I just seen a lot of grown men with broken hearts. And as crazy as that sounds, man, we all have emotion. We all cry. Sorry, my dog's over here.
No, I love it. I love it. That's awesome.
She wants to. She tried to be a superstar here, but I think it's one of those things, man, where I just grew up with it so much, man, and a fight's a fight. You're gonna feel all those emotions and scared and happy, and I don't know if I'm gonna get knocked out. I think I just coped with that my whole life. I like to think things as addition or subtraction versus multiplying and divide. That's just the way I like to look at it. At the end of the day, a fight's so simple but so complex. You know what I mean? You have to deal with all these things, and I just try to keep it simple in my mind. All I know is that I got to show up to the gym, be consistent, and have effort, positive effort, right? I'm not just going to show up to the gym. If that's what you want to do, is show up to the gym just to get a workout in, then fine. But you want to show up to the gym and put yourself in a position to have a bad day and work through the bad day. Because the good days, we all could do it, man. If everyone had a good day, we all be champions right away. But that's not the case, and enjoy the uncomfortable spots. I think that's where I've learned how to stay grounded. I've learned how to take it day by day, especially American Top Team. Let me tell you, there's no better place to be than that gym. The false sense of confidence just doesn't exist. If you have a shit day, you have a shit day. Accept it, take it on the chin, and hopefully, the MMA gods bless you with a better day tomorrow.
Yeah, I got very lucky years ago when I first got into the sport. That was the first MMA gym I ever walked into, and I was flying down from Chicago to go there. So welcome to the sport, Mike. There's your gym, and it's an incredible team, incredible coaches, and then obviously incredible fighters. let's get in this matchup August 4th on ESPN. You'll be taking on Ty Flores. Now, coming in as the number 1 seed, obviously you're very humble, you're very respectful, you're very smart when it comes to this game. And now it's all about just getting to that point. Obviously, we know what happened last year, but now that you're in the same position this year as you were last year, as they always say in the other, like in American football, get over the hump, right? You got to get past it, you got to get over the hump. You get over the hump, man. You're in the finals, and you're doing it as the number 1 seed. Is there a little extra incentive this year?
Man, I don't like to think of it like that, but yeah, man, I think when you look at, how, the cards that were dealt with me, and I'm 30 years old now. I'm only getting older. Um, the intentions to want to win this real bad, the right way, of course, I have that little extra feeling inside. I want to get. It's not just the semifinals, you know, but like I said, I do it all with love, man. I'm back in the semifinals for a reason. Um, and I think Ty's a great guy, but I think he was just slipping through the cracks here, man. With how the season turned out. I have no control of any of that stuff, but Ty's the guy to make it through. You know what I mean? And as crazy as that sounds, if people don't think he deserves the spot or whatever, that's not my opinion. The thing is, that's my opponent that I'm facing, and I'm gonna treat him accordingly, how I do with everybody. I think he's gonna try to rip my head off. I think he wants to win $1 million just as bad. The only difference is, this is just my destiny, man. I just know it. When you work hard for something, luck just plays a little piece of it, man. You go and you make it happen because you're capable of that. And that's what I feel in this moment. I'm capable of doing things with intention and winning this thing.
I won't keep you for too much longer, but I have to ask, as the number 1 seed, obviously, the 2 and 3 seed will go at it. Obviously, you'll be I know you got a fight to focus on, but are you watching that fight at all? Do you have a preference
Oh,
of
for
who you'd
sure.
like to fight?
Yeah, I'll be watching the fight. Like I said in the other interviews, man, I just want the best man to win.
Yeah.
I think the best man deserves to win, and I think that's what's gonna happen. I think Hamlet, he's tired of losing, man. He's tired of getting to this moment and losing. He's in the finals before, he's semis with me. I could see him have a lot of, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna win. But Impa Kasanga, man, maybe had one of the most embarrassing KOs. I mean, according to the MMA fans, maybe,
Yeah, the
that
social media world. Yeah.
social media world. So, he might have a fire in his belly too, and he might say, "There's no way I'm gonna get embarrassed again." I'm really 50-50. I would love to fight Hamlet again, and I would love to give Impa his first real fight. So whoever wants it, man, wants it, go get it. And I'll be waiting on that other side for you guys. And like I said, may the best man win. May the MMA gods choose who deserves it more.
It's shaping up to be an exciting weekend on August 4th. On a very serious note, everything we've already talked about, not just your father, not just growing up around the sport, not just the goals you have set out for yourself. You said it was your destiny. Josh, if I could put you in that moment on July, whatever today's date is, in mid-July, July 25th, I believe it is. If I can put you in that moment, $1 million, a world title, what does that all mean to you?
Yeah, man, it's the biggest thing in my life right now, and not just me. It means everything for my family, my dad. This would be the greatest accomplishment I ever had for myself. My family could probably say, to be honest, the greatest accomplishment is my mother and father coming to this country to give me the opportunity. That I could never repay them. But this would be um the whipped cream on the fucking dessert, man. You know what I mean? This just will be the an opportunity that nobody could take from me, from my family, and this makes me just think of, like, I'm not a dad, I don't have kids, but this makes me think of that type of stuff, and setting my kids up and their kids, and inspiration for others, and I honestly don't know, man. I think the feeling's so amazing. that it becomes unexplainable. But we take a step at a time, and when that time comes, if God allows it to happen, you know, it'll be the best blessing in my life.
I'd be, again, I'm a little biased, but I'd be damn happy for you or your family to see that happen. And now I know it's one step at a time, and I don't want to look too far into the future, but you know the MMA world, you know everyone's talking, you know the rumors, PFL possibly and Bellator merging. So I look ahead to 2024. Would you like to keep this season tournament format if you brought in a roster as big as Bellator's, or would you like to see the one promotion work as other promotions do with multiple events around the world per year? Like, how would you like to see that go?
Man, I think first off, I think it's exciting. I have a lot of teammates in Bellator, and if that does happen, I hope they do get to pass over to this side. I signed with the PFL before kind of all these crazy, Jake Paul and Francis Ngannou and all this stuff. So I feel like I'm riding a very nice wave. But the PFL knows what they're doing, man. If they could do a combination of both, that would be amazing. If they could do just a tournament style, cool, man. You know, everyone deserves to fight for $1 million. And if they could manage to get shows every weekend, man, that'd be amazing. I think fighters, that's all we look for is we want to fight. Give me a fight, So it's exciting. I know the UFC back in the day merged with Pride, and look how that turned out. So this is super cool. I'm not an envious person at all. I fought my teammate before.
Right.
I only wish the best for people. I think what you give is what you get out. So we all have our moments, but if Bellator ends up merging, I think it would be a beautiful thing, man. I think it gives me more of a job that I love, gives me more of a challenge. I'll have fights to new upcoming fights that I would never think that would happen. I just think that it's an amazing thing, man. So I'm all for it. Nothing against Bellator, if they're getting their stuff right and they could continue, then awesome. But if not, let the PFL boys take over, and they look like they've been knowing what they're doing.
Yeah, they definitely do. And listen, I was just in the building when Vadim Nemkov fought with Yoel Romero. And listen, I'm just saying a future matchup would be very intriguing between the two of you. But you mentioned two names, and then I'll get you out of here with two more questions. You mentioned Jake Paul and Francis Ngannou, both coming into the PFL and contributing in different ways. Jake with a bigger stage and platform, Francis doing so much for the fighters moving forward. He's obviously just locked up the Tyson Fury deal, but you said you're riding a nice wave. As a fighter who's kind of been around the PFL and seeing all these new big guys and names come into the organization, specifically these two, what's it like for you to see Jake Paul, Francis Ngannou team up with the PFL?
Like I said, I'm not an envious guy. A lot of people have a lot of crap to talk about Jake Paul or give Francis shit for leaving and not fighting John. That's none of my business. All I know is that these guys bring names. These guys bring attention. People are interested in them. I'm not envious, man. I'm not going to be mad about a kid that was a YouTuber and now he's done what he did to be in a position that he's in. So I'm all for it. I think it's amazing. I think it merges well with social media and how society works. I had friends always telling me it doesn't matter if you're the toughest guy in the world. If nobody knows you, it doesn't really make sense. And that's just kind of a weird thing, So I'm all for it. I never met any of them personally, but if I were to meet them, I wouldn't feel any sort of like this guy shouldn't be here or anything like that. I think everything happens for a reason, man. So I'm excited all the way.
I love it, man. Well, hopefully this won't be the one and only time you're on this podcast. I'd obviously love to have you back on in the future. I really enjoyed this conversation. For the fans, for everyone watching, and listen, you talk about being the toughest guy if nobody knows you. Where I'm doing the podcast thing, man, and I 100% agree with that statement. If nobody knows you, it's about making yourself known. So that's why I try to give a platform for people to tell their stories correctly. With that being said, August 4th, Ty Flores. What story are you going to tell? What story should everyone be looking forward to?
August 4th. Ty Flores, stop slipping through these cracks. It ends here. No offense, I'm gonna bring it to him, and he knows it too. He knows it too. This is my moment. I was destined for this. I worked hard for this. All with love, man. August 4th, I get my hand raised, moving to the finals. And when that time comes, we'll deal with the finals. But August 4th, I'm a champion.
I cannot wait for it live on ESPN. Joshua Silveira, I really appreciate your time, man. It was a great honor and privilege talking to you and meeting your co-pilot, co-star, your dog back there. She's like, all right, she's like, are we done? Are we finally done? But
Mercedes.
I appreciate it so much, man. Best of luck. And like I said, hope to have you on again soon.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And I'm glad you and my father have had a great chit chat, man. Shout out to him, man. He's a great dad, great person, great human. And thank you, brother.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.